The Strait of Gibraltar, known in ancient times by the Greeks and Romans as the Pillars of Hercules, is one of the most strategically and symbolically significant places on Earth. It's a narrow waterway that connects the vast Atlantic Ocean with the calmer, warmer Mediterranean Sea. But this isn't just a simple geographic link. This narrow stretch of water separates, and in many ways connects, two massive continents, Africa and Europe. At its narrowest point, just about 13 kilometers or 8 miles, you could stand on one continent and quite literally see the other with your naked eye. Despite this closeness and despite centuries of proposals, debates, and even dreams, there is no bridge connecting the two sides. No tunnel, nothing permanent that joins them physically. And that raises a huge question: why? Why, when the potential benefits are enormous, socially, economically, even politically, has there been no successful attempt to build a bridge or tunnel over or under the Strait of Gibraltar? Let's begin by understanding why this strait matters so much. First, in terms of raw geography, the Strait of Gibraltar is around 57 kilometers long from east to west, and as mentioned, narrows down to just 13 kilometers at its thinnest stretch, between the Spanish city of Tarifa and the Moroccan coast. It is deceptively small, but don't let its size fool you. Beneath that relatively calm-looking surface lies an average depth of around 1,200 feet or 365 meters. In some spots it plunges down over 900 meters, deeper than the Eiffel Tower is tall. That makes any construction here on the seabed or above an extraordinary engineering challenge. Now, think about this for a second. The strait actually serves as a natural gate between the Atlantic Ocean and the Mediterranean. Unlike the man-made Suez Canal, which connects the Red Sea to the Mediterranean but, is often prone to blockages and ship jams, Gibraltar is nature's open gateway. It handles over 100,000 ships every single year, far more than the Suez Canal's 20,000 or the Panama Canal's 14,000. These are some of the largest cargo vessels, tankers, and oil ships on the planet, navigating one of the busiest sea corridors daily. Many of these ships are transporting vital goods: oil from the Middle East to Europe and the Americas, raw materials from Africa to Asian markets, finished products from China back to Europe. Every drop of oil, every container of electronics, furniture, or grain that passes through the strait adds to its global significance. Roughly 300 oil tankers pass through it daily, carrying billions of dollars worth of fuel. This isn't just trade, it's really the lifeblood for dozens of economies. Ports near the strait, Algeciras in Spain and Tangier Med in Morocco, have grown into massive logistical hubs, with jobs, infrastructure, and entire cities relying on the economic traffic moving through this narrow gap. And yet, there is no bridge. Over the decades, many proposals have been brought forward to link Europe and Africa. Some of these go back as far as the 1930s. But more seriously, since 1979, multiple feasibility studies have been conducted by both Moroccan and Spanish authorities. Engineers, economists, and policymakers have all taken their turn trying to unlock the secret of how to connect these two lands permanently. It seems logical. Such a link could bring together nearly 600 million people, combining the 450 million population of the European Union with over 150 million in North and West Africa. The opportunities for trade, travel, tourism, and even cultural exchange are enormous. It could potentially transform Morocco into a gateway for African markets, making it an economic bridge to Europe. But every time the idea is raised, it runs into the same series of challenges, not just technical but financial, political, and geological. Let's start with the money. Estimates for building a bridge over the Strait of Gibraltar range between $5 billion to $20 billion US dollars. That's not a small sum. And unlike shorter, simpler bridges elsewhere in the world, this would need to be engineered in a very specific way. It would have to be so tall and so wide that the world's biggest ships could pass underneath without any risk. And this is no minor feat. Most bridges that allow for such clearance, like the Golden Gate or Akashi Kaikyo in Japan, still don't match the scale that would be required at Gibraltar. So who's going to pay for it? That's where politics comes in. Spain argues that Morocco would benefit more from the bridge, since it would provide millions of Moroccans easier access to the European economy. Meanwhile, Morocco insists that the costs should be shared 50-50, and so far, neither side has been able to come to a lasting agreement. Political tension between Spain and Morocco has further complicated things, with disputes over migration, borders, and fishing rights often derailing bilateral talks. Then, there's the question of feasibility. Will it be worth it? Let's take the example of the Channel Tunnel between the United Kingdom and France. That underwater rail tunnel cost over $15 billion to build, but it's used by over 20 million passengers a year. It pays for itself through ticket prices, around $150 per traveler, and generates over $30 billion in economic value each year. Morocco's economy is significantly smaller, with a GDP of around $130 billion, less than half that of even developing countries like Pakistan. So if we built a $5 billion bridge and charged $20 per trip, you would need around 250 million passengers per year just to break even. A number that's extremely hard to justify, especially in an area that doesn't yet have high levels of car or passenger traffic like Europe. But perhaps the biggest roadblock isn't money, it's engineering. The waters of the strait aren't calm or easy to work with. First of all, as we mentioned, this is a very busy shipping route, so any bridge would need to be built in such a way that it doesn't disrupt the constant flow of mega vessels. That means extremely tall towers and extremely long spans, more than anything that's ever been built over open ocean. Some parts of the strait drop down to depths of over 3,000 feet. That's deeper than the Burj Khalifa is tall. The world's tallest bridge piers today, like those in the Millau Viaduct in France, are just over 1,100 feet tall. So imagine trying to build something 3 times taller, not on land, but anchored to a shifting, muddy ocean floor, with massive undercurrents pulling in opposite directions at different levels of the water column. Yes, you heard right. Water in the strait flows in 2 opposite directions at once. On the surface, Atlantic water flows into the Mediterranean, while deeper below, heavier, saltier Mediterranean water flows out into the Atlantic. This creates a powerful set of underwater currents that would batter any foundation from 2 sides simultaneously. Add to this one more terrifying detail. The Strait of Gibraltar sits right on the boundary between the African and Eurasian tectonic plates. This area is seismically active. That means it's earthquake-prone. In 1755, one of the most devastating earthquakes in history, the Lisbon earthquake, originated here, with tremors and tsunamis killing tens of thousands in Portugal, Spain, and Morocco. In 1960, another earthquake of magnitude 5.7 struck Agadir, a city in Morocco, causing widespread destruction. So even if you could somehow build the world's tallest, strongest bridge towers under swirling ocean currents, they'd also have to withstand one of the most unstable tectonic zones on the planet. And we haven't even talked about the ocean floor itself. Geologists have found that the seabed of the strait is not solid rock but made up of soft clay and unstable sediment layers. Not exactly the ideal foundation for 3,000-foot-high concrete pillars. These layers can shift under pressure, swell with moisture, or liquefy during seismic events, making construction extremely risky. Any structure built on them would need incredibly advanced engineering, and even then, it might not be safe from collapse under the right conditions. So what's the alternative? Well, one idea is a tunnel, kind of like the Channel Tunnel between the United Kingdom and France. A submerged or underground tunnel could actually bypass some of the issues caused by ship traffic and ocean storms. However, it would still face, the same tectonic dangers, those clay layers and all that underwater pressure. Plus, it would cost even more, potentially more than $20 or even $30 billion. That again brings back the question, who will pay for it? Some in Europe have expressed a different kind of concern: immigration. A bridge or tunnel linking Europe to Africa would likely increase the number of refugees or illegal immigrants trying to enter the European Union. It would make border control more complicated and raise political questions that, honestly, many European governments are just unwilling to address. So here we are, 2 continents, just 13 kilometers apart, yet no bridge connects them. Not because no one wants it, not because no one has thought of it, but because nature, politics, and economics have all conspired to keep them apart. At least for now. But who knows what the future holds? With advancements in technology, shifting geopolitics, and growing needs for global cooperation, perhaps one day we may see a bridge or tunnel that finally unites Africa and Europe, turning a dream held since the time of Hercules into a bold modern reality.